Well, hello everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank you very much for the Investment and Development Agency of Latvia for inviting me to present this small program. First of all, I think to shake, let's say, the morning, I will show you first the new video of the program itself. It's quite different. It's not commission style. It's quite different. You will see. It's a very short video, but yeah. Oh yeah. Wait. Top. It's this. No. It's this one. What? Take Sorry. So, let me first clarify that the program is not about dancing, but as you can see, it's a way of saying that for many, probably, many think that business and environment compete, but actually it's not true, because one can go green, one company can go greener in an economically viable way and make business out of it and be more competitive. So this is what the program is about. So having business meet environment. My name is Anita Fastio, and I'm a project officer, so I follow projects, I monitor projects that are ongoing. First of all, who we are the Executive Agency for Competitiveness and Innovation. We are the first executive agency created by the European Commission with the purpose to implement community programs for a limited duration and always under the control and responsibility of the European Commission. So what do? We manage 3 programs and 1 network. I will briefly describe the programs. The Marco Polo program funds projects that shift freight transport off the road to more sustainable ways. So it's more about big transport. Intelligent Energy Europe, you just heard about. It's about fostering the use of renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. Ekoinovācijas, it's us. And the Enterprise Europe Network, you already know. It's a network of more than 600 partner organizations in 50 countries. And the purpose is to provide information to businesses on new policy, legislation, funding opportunities, finding partners, business partners, but also project partners, and so on. And the Enterprise Europe Network also provides feedback from the Commission, to the Commission, sorry. So we fall under the big CIP program, the Competitiveness and Innovation Framework Program. It's a big umbrella, and it aims at fostering the competitiveness of enterprises in the framework of sustainable development. So what is eco-innovation? It's a very big and general term. Eco-innovation can be defined as any form of innovation aiming at reducing the environmental impacts, but also at achieving a more responsible use of natural resources. It can take different forms. It can be in the form of services, of processes, of products, of materials. So what do we do? Eco-innovation funds projects concerned with the first market application and replication of eco-innovative ideas that have already been technically demonstrated, but due to remaining risks, need incentives to penetrate the market. So the potential for application and wide application must be demonstrated at the proposal phase. Ideally, wider applications should already occur during the project implementation. For the whole time period of the program, 2008 to 2013, we had a budget of 200 million euros. It's not a huge budget as compared to other funding programs like the 7th Framework Program, the Life Plus program. So we're a small program, but still it's going quite well. Our main target group are small, medium enterprises. Of course, not only. Anyone can apply. Large enterprises, research institutions, public sector, everybody can apply. But our main target group are SMEs, and why? Because there are 23 million SMEs in the EU, yet they cause 60 to 70% of EU's industrial pollution. So how does the program work? It's direct funding, so no intermediaries are involved, and it's in the form of grants. We co-finance 50% of the total eligible costs of a project. It is quite flexible as no partnerships are required, but the EU added value is crucial and must be demonstrated. But I will describe later the EU added value. So there's no need to constitute a multi-partner or an international consortium. Even just one company can apply. The approximate project size is of around 1.6 million euros total costs. So we co-finance the half of it, but it's approximate size. So what we want to do, of course, is to bridge the gap between research and development and commercialization. So we're there in between. Not too much into commercialization and marketing, otherwise we touch and we go into market distortion. And on the other side, if research is not finished, it's not eligible because we do not fund research. We do fund some testing, optimization, upscaling, of course, but not pure research. So ideally, a prototype should be ready and functioning and operational and ready for first commercial upscale. So the market orientation of this program is very important. And of course, the environmental benefits are very important. And you should try to follow as far as possible the life cycle assessment thinking. Therefore, to analyze well the causes and effects of a new product, for example, in its whole life cycle. There are 5 priorities, thematic priorities, but these are not exclusive. It's materials recycling, sustainable building products, food and drink, water, and greening business. We do not change substantially the calls every year. We have yearly calls. We only try to fine-tune, so 2012 call is not different from the 2011 call, and so on. And next year's call as well will be pretty similar. So what we look for into materials recycling, improved quality of recycled materials, better waste sorting, and treatment, innovative products using recycled materials, business innovations to strengthen the competitiveness of recycling industries. So what we have a bit newer, let's say, in this call is that we made a clear requirement to have an output with high added value. This means that the project should produce a product with enhanced value so that there is greater revenue when it is marketed. Sustainable building products is the second priority, so construction products and related processes, of course, that reduce consumption of resources, embodied carbon and waste, and also more environmentally friendly construction materials, and of course related manufacturing processes. The food and drink sector, we look for cleaner and innovative products, including packaging, that aim at high resource efficiency, reduction of waste, greenhouse gas emissions, and at increasing recycling and recovery. New production processes, and also processes and products that aim at reducing the impact of consumption of food and drink. So production and consumption in the food and drink sector. Water is a relatively new priority. We search for water-efficient processes, products and technologies, or even water-free processes, water and wastewater treatments, smart distribution systems. Greening business is a very general area, so we look in general at green products and services, substitution of materials by others leading at reduced environmental impact, clean production processes, and remanufacturing mechanisms. There is a clear sentence in the call for proposals 2012 is that we do not fund the development of IT tools. There's already a lot of funding for this from the European Commission in other programs, so we do not cover funding of IT tools, development of IT tools. So we are proud to say that we reached the target group of SMEs, as more than 65% of participating beneficiaries are small-medium enterprises. 15% are large enterprises, and the rest are universities, public entities, and others. Out of this 65% of SMEs, 79 are small and micro enterprises. So you see that there is a good reaction from small companies, and that it's not impossible to apply for funding. So, a small comparison with other funding programs, EU funding programs. Sorry about this. Seventh framework program funds research projects, mainly research, basic and applied research, the creation of prototypes. We are after this, so it's post-research, it's adaptation for the market uptake, industrialization, first commercial deployment. As compared to Intelligent Energy Europe, IEE funds projects dealing with energy. We do not fund projects only dealing with energy. We have this more integrated approach that looks at different environmental aspects, not only energy. So pure energy projects are not for Ekoinovation. We look at this life cycle approach, and we have the market orientation, which is not the same for IE. IE does not fund innovation necessarily. It's more about promotion and dissemination of well-proven technologies. So it's quite different from Ekoinovation. Finally, the Life Plus, you already heard about, which might seem a bit similar to Ekoinovation. Life Plus is more oriented to the public sector, while Ekoinovation is more to the private sector. We look for this replication, large diffusion, market uptake, while Life Plus is more about policy development and implementation of legislation, dissemination, awareness raising, and so on. We do not fund projects only dealing with dissemination, awareness raising. It's more for life. I will give you a very brief description of some projects so you have an idea of what type of projects we fund. In the end of my presentation, I also have 2 videos from other projects. EcoTPU is a new bioplastic for sports shoes coming from oil plant instead of crude oil. It replaces crude oil. The production line will be set up during the project implementation, and it involves the footwear and chemical industry from Spain and Italy. Thai leather is a new eco-friendly chromium-free leather treatment. So from the leather treatment, they take out the chromium with a reduced energy and wastewater pollution. The production line again is set during the project implementation, and it involves the footwear industry in Spain and France. Kickers has adopted for one of his line this type of leather treatment, which is more environmentally friendly. Green Bottle is a new milk bottle made from recycled paper, outer shell, and a thin plastic lining that can be easily separated and then sorted. It uses approximately 2 million tons of recycled paper for its bottle. The rollout is of 20 million bottles per year, so you see the replication and the industrialization phase of this project. And they found Asda UK stores for distribution, so they have a good client for their bottles. Glass Plus aims more at recycling old TV sets, the cathodic TV sets that are just disposed of and landfilled, into ceramics. So for example, in an apartment of 70 square meters, you will be walking on 30 old TV sets. They are exporting to Canada and US their tiles. And up to now, 60,000 TV sets have found a new life in their tiles. So this is a more recycling type of project. Liqueur is a new trenchless repairing of small water pipe leaks. So it's a system that detects leakage, seals, and cures it in one go. So you don't have to make a hole in the ground to find the leak and to cure the pipe. It's a trenchless type of system. It's an Israeli SME that is proposing this solution, and they found a client, the Thames Water London, for first application. So the call planning. The call opened the 8th of May and will close 6th September at 5 p.m. Brussels time. The submission is electronic, but also you can download the forms you need to submit your proposal from the EPSS system, the electronic submission system, and you can find the link in our website. After the call is closed, we start evaluations, and they usually end at the beginning of the following year. So January 2013, we finish evaluations, and first projects can start in May 2013. Again, we fund 50% of the total eligible costs, and projects must have a maximum 3 years duration. You can find a lot of information on our website. You can also subscribe to the news flash so you receive news frequently. There you can download all the forms to apply. You can download the frequently asked questions, a guide for proposers. We have a project database. You can go and search for projects. So now I will go more into details of how to apply for funding. what you should do and what you should not do. First of all, you need a good idea that matches with the call objectives. So you first of all need to carefully read the call for proposals. I suggest you read also the frequently asked questions, which can be very useful and clarify a lot of issues, and the guide for proposers. You can download the application forms through the PSS system. You also need to register, and this is quite new, through a participants portal of the Commission services and get a PIC number. It's very easy, but you need to do this as well. Everything is explained on our website. Which are the parts of a proposal? You have 4 main parts. Part A is administrative information you need to provide. Part B is crucial, is a work description, so what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Part C is the budget, another crucial file with indicators table. And then you have annexes that are the legal documents you need to provide, but also in case you have letters of intent, potential clients are interested in your new product, they are very much welcome and you can submit them. So you need to be careful and you need to provide sufficient answers to all award criteria. But I will tell you about the award criteria. Please follow the structure of the forms, Part B and Part C especially. The structure is predefined. The paragraphs are already defined with the information you have to provide is described there. Please do not change the structure and answer to the information that is requested. How proposals are evaluated? First of all, we follow the fair and equal treatment principle for all proposals. So it's based on the criteria I will tell you about that are announced in the call. 3 independent external experts evaluate your proposal together with us. It's a completely confidential process and we make sure that there are no conflicts of interest. When the evaluation is finished, you will receive feedback on your proposal. We give scores to each award criterion and we also say why we gave that specific score. So you will have a feedback anyway. There are 4 checks. So there are different criteria that are checked: eligibility, exclusion, selection, and award criteria. Example of eligibility criteria is, of course, the countries that are admitted, that are eligible to apply. And this is a list of the countries, and you also find them on our website. The award criteria are very important, as these are based on which your proposal will be evaluated. And through these, you can assess the eligibility of your idea. So it's very important that you understand these 5 award criteria. First, the relevance of the action is the most important. Well, they are important because you need to pass the threshold. You need to get 7 points out of 10 to pass this one. It's how your idea fits the policy, the legislation framework, how it fits the call for proposals, the innovative aspect or level of your idea, and of course the environmental benefits your idea generates. There needs to be substantial environmental benefits. The second criteria is the quality of the proposed action. So you need to describe in your Part B clearly your purpose, your objectives, how you're going to reach them. Your work plan must be correctly described. What is often the main weaknesses of proposals is that in the general part, you say, yes, we're going to do this, this, and that. We're going to reach these objectives and so on. And then when we read the work plan, which is actually the description of how you're going to obtain these objectives, the tasks and activities, it often do not match. And often the work plan does not reflect or does not give confidence that you will reach the objective. So it's crucial that you well describe your work plan and your activities with the correct number of hours and partners allocated to each work package. The consortium must be solid, manageable, and credible as well. The third criteria is the impact on the target audience. So it's all about your exploitation approach, your business approach, the replication, if any, during the project implementation. We do not ask for a complete business plan already at the proposal phase, of course, but this will need to be developed during the project. And we have a specific compulsory work package on exploitation and business plan. But you need to demonstrate that you have an idea of the market, of the possibilities for your new product, and so on. The fourth criteria is budget and cost effectiveness. Of course, there must be an appropriate level of effort per task, per partner. Costs must be clearly described and justified, especially for equipment. And finding the European added value, which is the value generated by your project that justifies the use of EU funding and not national, regional funding. So one company alone can apply, but we have a full criterion on EU added value. So you really need to demonstrate that it's worth EU taxpayers' money. And otherwise, we normally say, but this type of project is very local. It can be funded at national level. Indicators in Part C, in the budget form, you will also have an indicators table. You need to provide approximate values for performance indicators, environmental performance indicators, and economic performance indicators. Of course, these are just approximate values, but you need to convince the evaluators that your exciting and cost-effective idea has a big and measurable impact. And you show this through the indicators. Of course, these indicators will be updated during the project implementation. So we come back to market replication and exploitation. Of course, there's no single way to achieve a good market uptake, but we have different examples. Of course, not all projects are successful necessarily, but we had cases, and we reported here some examples. For example, the Glass Plus project, the TV screens into tiles, or the tile leather project. The products are directly sold to consumers in certain quantities, so this is already replication for us. In the Sterilis project, the machine for sterilization is being sold to food producers already during the project. WeTrace is a process to trace better the waste from electrical and electronic equipment, and is being applied, used in 80 collection centers. So this is also replication. Of course, the process is not being sold, but it's being applied, it's being used by other centers. So this is also good exploitation and replication. Let's say Numix, they draw business agreements with producers. So a business agreement is already good, a good achievement at the end of the project. What else? Well, Green Bottle you already heard about. So realistic bottom-up costing is required. We have 6 cost categories. Direct staff costs. Hourly costs must be equal to actual salary. So sometimes we ask for the pay slips to actually see that it's real costs. And of course, social charges must be included in these costs. We have equipment and infrastructure that needs to be well described. You need to provide a breakdown of equipment costs. Equipment must be depreciated, and only equipment directly related to the innovative technology is eligible for funding. We cannot fund a whole recycling plant. We don't have the budget for that, and therefore we limit to the innovative equipment, innovative parts that is related to the equipment. You can subcontract some tasks to experts, external experts, up to 35% of total eligible costs. You cannot subcontract core tasks. This you have to have inside the consortium, the capability to implement core tasks. Then you have the other specific costs, which are the consumables. For example, printing costs or audit certificate costs if they are required, or bank guarantee costs if these are required. We do not cover electricity and gas. And then there is a 7% total eligible direct costs, also called overheads or indirect costs. And this covers the administrative part of the project. We also have travel costs. You can now choose, and this is quite new, you can choose either you define your travel cost and number of travels and corresponding costs, or you can apply for a 4% flat rate, 4% of the total eligible direct costs. And this is your flat rate, and you don't need really to prove when you will have your financial statements analyzed. You don't need to prove that you've been there or that, and you have spent so much money for traveling. You use your flat rate. So it facilitates, I think, you and also us for when analyzing your financial statements. Equipment and infrastructure, I already said. Clear description, correct depreciation. The purchase costs must be capitalized in the books of the co-beneficiary according to the applicable national accounting rules. This is really crucial, because then if you have an audit, you can be in trouble. Co-financing, you need to clearly explain who is co-financing the other 50%, if it's you directly, and why you're co-financing and how you're co-financing it. Or if you have a third party co-financing part of the other 50%, you need to clearly explain the rest of the co-financing. EU added value, again, crucial. Value generated by the project that justifies EU funds. Your market barriers must have an EU dimension, not only a national dimension. And of course, if you manage to have some European cooperation in your project, this is an added value for you. Again, applications are only possible online. 6 September, 5 p.m. Brussels time. If you submit 1 second late, your proposal is out. So be careful. Every year we have these cases of people submitting at the last minute and not managing to submit exactly on time. And the proposal is rejected after months of preparation. It's not funny. So please submit in advance. This is also to give you a general idea. We provide pre-proposal checks. So if you have a project idea, you can send us a maximum 2-page summary of your project idea, okay? So we do a pre-screening, and we say, it doesn't really fit, or it fits, but be careful, you should reinforce this, this, and that. And this is an idea, to give you an idea of why proposals at the pre-check stage do not fit. We receive a lot of pre-proposal checks on energy projects, pure energy, and these are not for eco-innovation. Or the innovation is not considered high enough, it's too low, or it's non-existent. We often receive project ideas mainly dealing with dissemination, tools, manuals, guidelines. This is not for eco-innovation. We also receive project ideas that are too much in the research stage, not for us, and also that do not have substantial environmental impacts, or they are limited, or they are indirect, but not enough. So proposals instead that have passed the evaluation phase, that have been submitted, passed the evaluation phase, but are rejected. Why they are rejected? Most are rejected on innovation, because either the idea is not innovative because it's already being used and marketed in another country, or it's the level. Of course, you can have different levels of innovation, but it can be considered too low because the change, let's say, as compared to state-of-the-art technology is not sufficient. Also, environment is a crucial issue again. If environmental impacts are too indirect or not tangible enough, it's not enough. This is mainly why projects are rejected. Then we also have the criteria on the exploitation. Sometimes it's projects on a one application and that's it. I will apply this new technology in my company, that's it. This is not enough. You need to provide a good exploitation plan. And when proposals are instead passed the evaluation positively and are recommended for funding, the main weaknesses we find, which then we use during negotiations, because after evaluation we have the negotiation phase before we sign the contract. So the main topics for negotiations are costs that are often not clear enough, or are too high, or are not justified. Another thing that can be negotiated is the market, the exploitation, the business aspect. Sometimes it's very weak. So during negotiations, we try to ask to reinforce this aspect. So these are the main things that are faced during negotiations. I'm almost done. So some suggestions. When writing your proposal, provide full answers to all our criteria. Give a clear picture of what you want to do, how you want to do it. The business case must be clear. Exploitation, environment, innovation. This already said. Provide an appropriate estimate of the efforts for each partner in each work package, and detail the actions. This already said. Realistic time planning of your project. We often have projects that sometimes, since we're talking often about new technology, new plants that need to be installed and so on, sometimes permits are necessary for that. And often projects do not consider the time for getting permits, which can take even months. Sometimes it can take even 1 year to have a permit to install a big machine. So it's good that you take this into account as well in order to have a realistic time planning in your project. Start early enough. Proposals need time. Do not submit your proposal at the last minute. So do not submit a research project. Do not submit an energy project. Do not forget the life cycle perspective in your project when describing your environmental benefits. Replication, exploitation, okay. You find support through the national contact points and the Enterprise Europe network in this case. There is, in case of IPR issues, intellectual property right issues, you want to have clear while writing your proposals and discussing with your new partners, you can contact the European Commission Help Desk. It's a free service. It works very well. You can submit your case and they will reply in no time. So I really suggest if you have any IPR issues that you solve them before you submit your proposal. So finally the timeline. 6 September, closing evaluations until February 2013, you get your feedback on the results of the evaluation. Then for those that are approved for funding, negotiation phase starts, and project implementation from May, June onwards. Thank you very much. This is the link to our website and our functional mailbox, the second one. If you have any inquiries, project ideas, anything, please write to the functional mailbox. Thank you very much. I will show you a couple of project videos. Some projects have prepared a video on which are very nice to give an idea. This is, let me see. This is Brittle Water project. It's about large-scale bamboo farming for the treatment of wastewater from the Refresco fruit juice bottling plant. And the next one is T4T, is an industrial-scale automatic sorting machine using near-infrared technology that helps sort different textiles and helps finding new market opportunities for the different fractions sorted. So I will first show you Brittle Water.
Small and medium-sized businesses, or SMEs, which can, as we'll see, collaborate to get EU financing, and they can also get help with the essential task of transforming an eco-innovative project into a real offer on the marketplace.
Bamboo as a water treatment system was a creative idea for treating polluted water, which was dreamed up by a small French company specializing in ecological water treatment plants. Bamboo filters water without creating bad smells or mud, but it wasn't adapted for industrial use until Vairāk realized that there are European grants for eco-innovation.
We use this as an opportunity to gain access to the market and to industrialize our process and to get a shop window for future clients.
With 3 other SMEs, Vairāk submitted her idea for Brittle Water to the EU's Competitiveness and Innovation Framework Programme, which agreed to finance half of the €700,000 needed to set up a pilot bamboo project. This was installed on the site of a large company which was also very involved in the project.
We put around €300,000 into the project so that it wouldn't only be a pilot project, but a project which later on could be a real industrial business, which is exactly what interests us.
Since the launch in 2009, Vairāk has set up 2 bamboo plantations on industrial sites in France and is now developing her business abroad.
It's this Brittle Water shop window which allows us to look at international partners in our own time and to say, this is our know-how, this is our profession, this is what we can explore today when we're looking for partners for construction and studies outside France.
Her company is beginning to develop subsidiaries in the form of joint ventures, and serious projects are also being studied in Israel.
For us, the key to success in the first place was having solid partnerships with other SMEs, but also our industrial partnerships. It was having EU financing that really allowed us to set our project up on an industrial scale. And of course, EU support and the EU label give us credibility. It means we can now move into the international market.
And the T4T.
The Textiles for Textiles project is brought to you by... As we often buy new clothes, the production of textiles is taking a very high toll on our natural resources. Although we do recycle clothes, this is a fairly inaccurate process with a lot of quality loss and waste. Within this current system, there is much room for improvement that can save time, energy, and reduce environmental impact on a large scale. It creates new sustainable business opportunities for the industry. The textile industry creates many environmental and social problems. To produce fabrics for clothing, large acres of land are needed to plant, for example, cotton. Besides land, a lot of water is required too. Just to give you an idea, to produce one pair of jeans made from cotton, you'll need 8,000 litres of water. And of course, the production of cotton also requires large amounts of pesticides, environmentally unfriendly dyes such as indigo, low-cost labour and transportation, all of which are needed to produce the fabric that will eventually form our clothes. Although we do recycle and reuse, the way we do it is a very ineffective one-way system that wastes large amounts of perfectly fine fabrics. Let's take Holland as an example. A small country of 16 million people discarding 240 million kilograms of textiles per year. 70% of the consumed textiles are discarded as normal waste, their life ending as landfill. The remaining 30% is separated by consumers and collected for recycling and reuse. Out of this 30%, approximately 55% can be worn again by new buyers and rotates back into second-hand markets and stores in developing countries. The remaining 45% is not suitable to be used as clothing again. This is about 36 million kilograms per year. Because it's too costly to manually sort these different materials, such as polyester, cotton, acrylic, etc., they all end up on one or two mixed piles that are shredded, only suitable for low-quality applications of the mixed materials. The Textiles for Textiles project aims to improve this situation and has developed a machine that is about to take the first step in making that change. The Textile for Textile machine focuses especially on the selection and shifting of this 45% of the clothing that is considered to be of too low quality to be worn again. The machine can be set to detect a specific type of fabric. It has an optical detection system that scans the colour and fibre of which the textile is made. It will scan all the clothes, approximately 1 item per second, and puts all textiles into predetermined separate groups. Next to having 100% cotton, for example, it can also detect commonly used mixes, like for instance 70% cotton, 30% polyester, and put them together, resulting in a card exclusively 70% cotton, 30% polyester. Accurately pre-sorted materials can now more easily and cheaply be accurately processed into new fabrics consisting of the same material. Today, our current downcycling system provides us with mainly low-quality mixed materials to be used in low-quality products. This machine offers sorted material useful for new high-quality fabrics that can compete with virgin materials even though it's extracted from old clothing. Improving this part of the textile recycling system will save us a lot of water, land, energy, time, pesticides, transportation, costs, etc. It will radically reduce the pressure on our natural resources, as we will make use of our resources much more efficient. What's more, it will open opportunities for new business in the industry. This machine is just a first step in sparking a chain reaction which will change the textile recycling system as a whole, improving the way we treat our textiles and the businesses we build around them. Thank you for watching.
Okay. Maybe one thing I forgot to say is that this is the 5th call for proposals. Next year is the last call for proposals, so I really encourage you to submit, to participate, because we don't know what's going to happen now, because 2013 is the last call. We don't know now in the Commission, everything is changing. There is this merge of the future 8th Framework Program for Research and the future CIP2 merged into Horizon 2020. And they're discussing now in the Parliament and in the Council of what type of programs should be funded and so on. So we don't really know the future of Eco-Innovation Program. So yes, I encourage you to apply this year or next year, being next year the last call. Questions? Do you have any questions? Yes? No, we have depends. We have around 35 million per year per call. We fund from 40 to 50 projects per year. From 40 to 50 projects per year, approximately. Yes?
Can he as a businessman, he sells business project for, as to cooperate with market. Eco-innovation market. Or market has IT of the business project, and you need to receive one project for start to work in the market.
I don't understand your question, sorry.
If businessman has visions, start to cooperate with market, eco-innovation, he himself can has his personal projects.
I'm not sure I understand. You mean if a company applies for a project, submits a project, the project is financed. This you mean? I still don't understand. You understand? Maybe.
After presentation, if you allow me,
Yeah, maybe, because I don't completely understand the question. Yes?
I have a question. First of all, welcome to Latvia, welcome to Radio from all of us.
Thank you.
The question is that you were speaking about the awareness raising and the motivation. You do not do any work in that field.
We can have this, but it's part of a project. We have a compulsory work package on dissemination, so this part can be developed in this specific work package. But we do not fund projects only on dissemination, awareness raising, promotion type of activities. But it can be part, of course, of the project.
Right. But you mentioned here, for example, the TV sets that were turned into ceramic tiles. In Latvia, there's not enough information to go around to even collect these television sets. So I feel that in order to be able to implement this program at all in Latvia, as one example, there has to be more of the so-called awareness raising. And for example, our part of what we do is this awareness raising. We do consider it a positive step if we would try to apply for a project in that sense, plus the thing that we do also. Do you understand my question?
That you want to submit a proposal dealing with this awareness rate?
Yes. We have also other steps. As part of it. You answered as part of it.
Yes, as part, of course. Yes, of course. Because the projects mainly dealing with dissemination, awareness raising, promotion, and so on, it's Life Plus funds, this type of projects. We cannot overlap with the other programs. This is why we try to distinguish. We have to, yes. As far as we can. It's not always easy. There is overlapping, but this is really Life Plus. But absolutely, any dissemination type of activities, awareness raising is very much welcome, and it's also necessary in this case, of course. In some countries, it's even more important. So yes, as part of the project, it is eligible, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes? Well, usually EU projects have a multi-partner consortium, so it's different companies collaborating for developing the project. In this sense, it's not compulsory in our case. In all the other programs, you have to have at least 3 partners, blah, blah, blah. In this case, no, you can just come alone. But again, a purely locally developed project looking only at the local problem, at the local market barriers, will be very weak in EU added value and probably also in exploitation. I don't know. So you mean clients in this case? I cannot hear you too well. Could you speak louder? Yeah. But that it's not. It's up to you to see. You have a plan. You have an idea, and you see that to develop that idea, you need the help of, I don't know, a research institute. It's not necessary, but it's just an example. Or you have another company interested in the same thing that would like to apply your idea. So you have, let's say, the client or the end user. It could be the client. It's not necessary, but it can be also. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what we cover is it's this risk. It's your market risk. It's your risk you have in entering the market. You can, if you put it on the project, though, he must have activities. He must work in the project. If he doesn't do any, he needs to co-finance his part as well. So you need to have costs. If he's just a client that is putting at your disposal his place, then maybe a letter of intent from him would be sufficient without involving him directly in the project as a consortium partner, because he needs to, of course, work within the. Otherwise, your project will be weak in the quality, as a consortium is not really solid because you have a partner that is doing nothing. So it's up to you to say, okay, to get this, I need the help from this, and these people are willing to contribute. If it's just putting his premises at your disposal, then maybe it's more a letter of intent from them. Say, okay, we agree, and we are interested in the implementation of this solution in our place, and so on. Okay. Yes. Not a natural person. Anything else is, a legal person. We also have startups as beneficiaries. So for startups, depending on the EC requested funding, you might need to provide a bank guarantee if your project is recommended for funding and you enter negotiations. But yes, of course, even a startup or a micro company or whatever.
And I saw that the grant funding is like a 50%. That means that the other 50%
Yes. And you must demonstrate that you're also capable of covering this other 50%. And you can also find third parties willing to co-finance your 50% or part of it also. This is also feasible.